In this worksheet called Custom Date Formats, we see in columns A through F the same date over and over and over again. And A1 is the current cell, and as I click B1 and C1, keep an eye on the formula bar. What's changing? Nothing. These are all different ways to display the date. Now, many times you'll find formats like these available in Format Cells. We can get there with Control-1 or right-click Format Cells. And so this particular example is one of the standard ones right here. And we can see that. And there's certainly lots of options, and most people find something in here they need or use. Think of all the different ones you possibly could use too. But there could be times when you want to display the data in your own way. And let's imagine that in column C, we might want to show the month as an abbreviation, possibly even day of the week. Make it a bit shorter here. So as we jump into Format Cells, perhaps with Control-1 or right-click Format Cells, we can take the existing format, which we see here, and then switch to Custom. Now, when we come into the Custom category, we might see others that we've tried recently and also some other displays. But let's change this. Instead of 4 Ds, which means spell out the day of the week at the beginning here, let's simply make that be 3 Ds. And instead of 4 Ms, which means spell out the entire month, how about 3 Ms? Now, DD means display all dates as 2-digit entries. And if it's the first or the second, maybe we don't want a leading 0, so put in a single D there and click OK. So you see the difference. We've got the day of the week as a 3-letter abbreviation, the month as a 3-letter abbreviation, the days as 2 characters when needed, other times just 1. And so we see some variations here. Remember too, in column A, if you want those days and months to always be 2 digits, and that's viable because some people like to line these up or view them vertically. Right-click, Format Cells. In the date category, recognize that some of the entries here might serve our needs already. This one here, for example. Click OK. So now they all are the same width, and there could be an advantage to that from your perspective. Once again, jumping back into Format Cells, if we zip over to Custom here, we see the display there, MMDDYY. If you only want single-digit day for those days before the 10th of a month, and if we want a single-digit month for those months before the 10th month, enter, and we can do that. So once you get used to the idea of what the M's and the D's and the Y's work with, you can come up with all kinds of variations on these. And in column E here, we've got something quite a bit different too. Recognize there, we've got what? The year, and then the 2-digit month, and then the 2-digit day of the week. And if we were to right-click and go to Format Cells here, we'd see what? 4 Ys, MMDD. If you want a space between those, then put a space between the last Y and the first M. How about a space after the second M and before the first D? And I only made the change on the first one, but we see that kind of display there. So certainly different ways to display the data. Also, when displaying dates or times, and here I've got an example of a time entry in column J, maybe this represents not time of day, but hours worked or time worked on a certain project or amount of time spent at a certain location. You might want to display this in a more textual way, simply by adding some text. So we can use other functions in Excel. In other words, we could pull out the hour from here, and that's going to give us the 17. We might not want to keep it that way, but we'll use the hour and then use the ampersand symbol here, which means and. Let's say we want to see 17 and, following that, and within double quotes, a space, hours. I want the word hours to appear, and then the word and, in a space, double quote. So we want to see 17 followed by space, hours, space, and space. And after that, another ampersand, meaning and. Let's get the minute out of there, the minutes. Not MIN, which means minimum, it's minute. Left parentheses from here. And following that, another ampersand, because we want the word minutes to follow that, and it needs a leading space. And all that within double quotes. So, 17 hours and 7 minutes. There's the display. Certainly not necessary, but in some cases revealing, and doing that in certain worksheets is just going to be better because it just explains what it is. And if we change the numbers here, and of course we want to test it out on a few of these, if this is 5 here, now ignore the fact that it looks like it's PM here. We can ignore that. If we simply were to strike all of this and type in, for example, how about 6:43, don't think of that as AM or PM, but what? 6 hours and 43 minutes. So a variety of different built-in formats, but also ways to create your own custom formats, sometimes using text, as we saw in the latter example here, but also in situations like we saw over here, different ways to display by using M's and D's and Y's the way you want the date information to appear.